Hi guys, welcome to Life Theory.
Today, we're going to talk about obeying with a good attitude.
Roll intro! Alright guys, today we're talking, actually this is a fun one. We had talked for a couple of weeks about, hey, we want you guys to give us ideas. Mm-hmm. And we got an idea. This one is from Trinity Shug. Mm-hmm. She says, you should make a video about doing your jobs and chores willingly and joyfully for the Lord.
Yeah, it's a good topic that I think it gets hit on every now and then.
Yeah.
But it's always a good one to refresh, to look over again.
For sure. So that's what we want to do. But first, like always, what is this magnificent looking concoction?
So I made an iced latte. It's oh, it dripped down the side. It's vanilla with essentially a hint of caramel and butterscotch.
Oh, I could tell. See, that's why I took a sip before the show, not knowing what it was, and it kind of gave me the flavor of a caramel macchiato.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes perfect sense, because a caramel macchiato is just caramel and vanilla. But I can taste it. There's a little bit of a difference. It's almost like a smooth caramel macchiato.
Yeah. I decided to, since we were talking about coffee last week, I was like, let's have some coffee.
Yeah. I love a good latte. The ice is already melted because we were discussing things. Yeah. So let's get started. So, doing your doing your chores willingly and joyfully, right? And the other thing she hinted at, which we're going to talk about, is for the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of breaks it into two camps, which is the doing and the attitude.
Yeah.
All right, and maybe three, because then the why.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, first of all, should we do what we're told?
I mean, yeah, God says to.
Oh, that's right. There's a ton of verses about that.
Yeah. I think we can start with kids, because that's where most of us start in life.
Yeah, and that's where a good handful of you guys could easily be. I actually haven't looked up our demographics recently.
I just realized what I said. That, we could start with kids because that's where most of us start in life.
I mean, I personally have not met
kids.
an adult that just started that way. Just kapoof. I mean, Adam.
But you never met him.
I did not ever meet Adam, no.
But God actually does have a direct command for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think there's
two. There's one in Ephesians.
Yeah, the one in Ephesians is talking about honoring your parents.
There's one, it might not be in Ephesians, where it says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Yeah. Because this one is like a parallel verse, but it's even more specific.
Yes. And it kind of gets to a point where a lot of people like to give themselves a break on.
Yeah, give themselves an excuse.
Yeah. So Colossians chapter 3 verse 20 says, children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing unto the Lord. It's like, God says, obey your parents in all things.
Yeah.
he didn't give a modifier.
Exactly. Because that's the thing is, okay, especially, we've been teenagers before.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we're not that old. We've been teenagers recently. We both less than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And when you're that age, even now sometimes, right? You're starting to get a good idea of what life is like.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to get a good idea of how relationships work and how, employment works. You're getting a job, right? How money works. And it can be tempting to think you know better than your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something where, every kid has trouble with that, which is why I think the Lord repeated it twice.
Yes. Yeah, it is so easy because, especially for those of us who grew up in a Christian home, we grew up with the Bible being a very essential part of our lives. We see the truth in many situations. We grow up listening to sermons, going to church. I actually did the calculation just recently.
Yeah.
And figured out that in my lifetime I've sat through, excuse me, I have personally sat in and sat through like I forgot the number. Nearly 5,000 sermons.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just,
I'm
being
probably only
physically
like
there.
500 behind you then.
Could be. We being pastors' kids, we went to a lot of special
Oh,
meetings.
so I'm probably about 4,000.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way.
Either way, that's...
So, just the thought of that. So, I'm 25. So, 10 years ago, being 15, reduce that number down to like 2 or 3,000. Kind of feel like I know a
Yep.
lot.
Yeah, and you do know a lot.
Yeah. But there's also the experience lacking from
Yes.
life experience, because looking back, I can see many situations where it was like I felt like I knew better, but then either I was told or reminded that it's like, well, mom and dad know what they're talking about, and then get to the end of whatever that situation is and be like, I'm glad I didn't try to act like, on those thoughts of
Yeah.
feeling like I know better. And it's also hard looking around at other teenagers now being an adult and being like, I can see why you think that, but being an adult who has life experience, I know you're wrong, but if I tell you that, you're just going to get mad at me.
Yeah. That is something that's... It's such a tricky thing as an adult, because there are certain areas... Now, there are certain areas both of us still don't understand.
Oh yeah, still now.
So this is not like some sort of claim to genius, We have arrived at the ripe old age of 22. My wisdom is set. But there is certain things that we see now that we didn't see before. And I can say for sure that there was things I thought as a teen that just weren't true.
Yep.
There's ideas I had that just would not make sense. And there's certain things my dad would not let me do, and I would get so mad about it, and I felt so righteous for being mad about it. And now I look back on it and I'm like, oh, he didn't want me to fall into this pit or this pit. He didn't want me to do this or that. And as an adult, it makes a lot more sense.
It really does. There's well, we could really go on about that, but I think this is God having infinite wisdom, having no need for life experience.
Yep.
saying, children, obey your parents in all
because
things.
they have, and another thing, I wanted to bring up this argument so I can dismantle it in a proper biblical way. A lot of kids will say, kids like us, right? I have the Bible. I know the Bible. I read the Bible a lot. I have a relationship with God. Why don't you think I would know the answer? And they're like, well, life experience doesn't mean you're better. I've known adults that were less mature or worse than me, you know, and they'll say things like that, right? And I agree with that, but they're missing one part. The biggest thing that they're missing is what experience helps you do is apply wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you apply knowledge, and it gives you wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom is the application of knowledge, and you can't apply knowledge to a situation you haven't been in before.
Yeah.
So, in other words, if you're still... how do I say this? If you haven't figured out a situation yet, it means you don't understand how to solve it.
Yeah.
And so, if there's an adult who has been through that, who has solved it, it shows that they have learned how to apply the scripture in that specific area.
So maybe there's times where kids like us grew up in a Christian home, and then we interact with adults who have actually been saved for less time than us. It's very tempting to feel like we know better because, well, I've been saved longer.
Yeah.
Yes, but you've also been alive for less longer. Your brain is not fully developed yet. You've not lived through life experiences that those adults have.
And if the Bible is applicable no matter what stage of life you're in, it means if they have the experience, then that knowledge can be, that knowledge can be applied.
Yeah.
And for fairness to the parents, most of the parents that we are talking about are parents that have been saved longer than their kids. And so that's the other side of it, is that argument doesn't normally hold up. There's select circumstances, absolutely. And even in those, you should obey your parents.
Yeah, I mean, God just said it right there. Obey your parents in all things. He didn't say if your parents have been saved longer than you, or... He didn't even say if your parents are saved.
No.
He did not give any modifiers.
So even if you have unsaved parents, now, if they're trying to tell you to do something that is immoral, unbiblical, or unlawful, that's when you can appeal to the authority. You can tell them why you don't want to do it in a very respectful, honoring way, not yelling at them, not screaming at them. And that is a discussion to be had. But if something is not unbiblical, unlawful, or immoral, you should do it.
Yes.
According to God's word.
Yep.
So, that's kind of the kid's side.
Now that we went on that tangent.
That tangent, but I think a good tangent to be on.
Yeah. So, what are the benefits of a good attitude?
Benefits, well, so we started with obedience.
Yes.
So now good attitude. Because that's the other side. Yes, you need to obey, but you should also do it with a good attitude. Because there's a lot of benefits. And the Bible has a lot to say about it. So, like, the first one, I'll take the first one, is, like, being reliable. Being known as a hard worker. And that kind of leads into the second one.
Yeah. Sorry, I got lost in it. Being reliable, being known as a hard worker, it leads to success down the road. In the simple setting of a job, when you're shown as a reliable worker and you're doing things with a good attitude, even when other people who've been asked to do the same job
Yep.
you're like, okay, I've got a good attitude. I'm going to do this because God said to do this, and so then your boss will notice and be like,
Yes.
I can count on this guy to do things well and to have a good attitude. Especially, one of the biggest jobs younger people have is in in a,
Like customer service?
yes, that's the word I was trying to think, customer service situation. So when you have a good attitude, you're kind of the face of the company.
Yeah, you are.
And so when you as a worker are having a good attitude, your boss is like, this guy represents our company well. We gonna want to keep him around. We want to have be glad to have this person representing our company.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say I had a job where I was working as a cashier, and this was so for context, I used to be very lazy. You know this. And I had decided to follow, I was encouraged by a lot of older men and to be more faithful and also encouraged by you as well, and to do my job better at home and at work. And I know I had a job where I was doing customer service, and as I worked on doing things unto the Lord and be more faithful, they eventually did move me up, and I went from cashier to being front desk and all that, and it was great. So there can be benefits, absolutely.
Or for example, in my job, I think we mentioned this at one point a while back, but there's other types of benefits. Like, for example, I'm not the face of our company. I'm one of the workers doing work in the background. Well, actually, I guess sometimes I am. I'm a backup delivery driver now, so.
Well, and that's only because you have a good attitude.
Yeah. So, good attitude, faithful worker. I show up every day. I've not ever called in. And boss came to me and was like, hey, we've noticed that you're a faithful worker. You've been here a year and you've shown up every day, unlike nearly everybody else just in this past year. Here's a bonus. And I've had good raises, and there's so many benefits to doing your job well and having a good attitude. And I've also noticed that having a good attitude can affect your interactions with your boss. Sometimes the boss is annoying, and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you have a good attitude and you interact with them with that good attitude, no matter how much your coworkers are complaining about them behind their back, even having a good attitude towards them behind their back that's also super helpful. It's so much easier because maybe the boss will get kind of irritated at somebody who's always having a bad attitude with them. But with you, you're having a good attitude. They'll be in a bad mood from talking with that other coworker who's always complaining. But then they come and talk to you, and they're like, they
cheer up.
They cheer up, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not cranky, and you have good interaction with your boss, and it's so nice.
That was another thing I was going to say. First of all, one word you said that I really like is faithful. Because being faithful and honoring people is both in what you do and how you do it. So, yes, you do your job, but if you do your job with good attitude, that shows that, you're being faithful to the company. You're being, and being honoring to them. And I like the interaction. That is huge. Because, Also, other coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
How you do your job is going to affect your other coworkers. I've had coworkers that call in all the time, or some that won't even call in, or they'll just not show up.
Mm-hmm.
And it really affects the relationship. It makes it harder to be kind to them. And there was a time where I was that coworker, and it made it hard for people to be kind to me. Well deserved. And so your relationships can be helped or hurt by how faithful of a worker you are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, going into that, what happens if we don't feel like it, though? Like, okay, say a couple of things. Maybe we had a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we don't like our job. Maybe we don't like our boss. Maybe the boss doesn't do a good job. There's plenty of jobs where that happens. We've been at a job where it wasn't super well managed. What do we do? Then do you give yourself a pass to like be grouchy all the time and grumpy?
No. That is definitely a big thing because...
Oh, and apply it to parents as well, because sometimes parents can be annoying too.
Yeah. That's definitely a big thing because it's so easy to... You've had a bad day, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
You're already you're having...
Emotions,
bad emotions, and just feeling down.
Yeah.
And then now you've got to deal with, like you said, maybe a job you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's for kids a chore that you don't like that your parent is having you do, or
Mm-hmm. Like when you have to do the dishes.
Yeah, I don't like doing dishes.
Me neither.
It takes me so long.
Yeah, it just seems to take everything out of your day.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, or for like us adults, we got a job that's like, okay, I don't like my job, but it's paying the bills, so I guess I'll go to work.
Yep.
But when you don't have a good attitude, like we've already said, that's seen. It's people can see that affects your work. So sometimes we don't feel like, I just don't feel like having a good attitude today. Well, if we just let our emotions drive us, if we just follow how our emotions are feeling, we're just going to be cranky all day.
Yep.
That's just how it's going to work. But when we take over our emotions, when we are the ones to guide our feelings, we essentially force a good attitude on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
After a little bit, it's like, oh, I guess it's not so bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I had that experience. I had a job that I really didn't like. Did not like the job. Before that, did not like manual labor very much. So but I found a job. It was where the Lord wanted me to be. It was a very well-paying job. But it was an extremely physical job. Mm-hmm. It was, you don't need to think, you just need to work. Mm-hmm. We don't need a brain, we just need a body.
Work harder, not smarter. That was that job.
That was the actual motto that was actually posted on the wall.
That was one of the coworkers, not the boss.
Yeah, no, the boss didn't put that up there.
But he left it.
He did. And I remember being so annoyed and frustrated. And I was talking to my dad, like, I just want to get a different job. I don't like my job. And my dad, again, going right back to parents having wisdom, he's like, a lot of whether you like a job or not is in the attitude. Mm-hmm. He's like, you need to change your perspective. You need to get a better attitude about your job. Which is not what I wanted to hear. I wanted him to go, oh man, oh it's so bad. I'm so sorry, bud. Yeah, I'll find you something, a nice little cushy job where you make like 17,000 a day just to type numbers or something. Like no. He said, no, you need to be more thankful for your job. He said you need to find things to be thankful for. And I looked, and the first thing, the only thing I could think of at first, well, it pays well. And for the next 2 weeks, that was the only thing I was thankful about. But then I started finding more things. Oh, I have some Christian coworkers at my job. That's nice. Oh, we sometimes will get out early for a holiday. Oh, that's kind of nice. And then I just started finding more things to be thankful for. And before you knew it, I was like whistling while working at a job that I previously hated.
Yeah.
Because, again, going right back to parents having more wisdom than us, my dad had been at plenty of jobs. He knew you gotta just have a better attitude sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that would be my advice is if you are in that situation where you don't feel good about it, a lot of that comes down to thankfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, right here in Colossians 3:17, it says that exactly. It says, "And whatsoever ye do, in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him."
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Like, we need to be thanking God. That will help, and it helps so much. It helps your attitude, because sometimes you just don't feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfulness just...
Yeah, finding those little bits and pieces here and there of your job that you can actually be thankful for.
Yeah.
It helps so much.
And then the last thing is why. Why does any of this matter? Why does it matter to obey? Why does it matter to have a good attitude? I mean, Colossians 3:20 said it, and Colossians 3:22 and 23 says it even better.
Mm-hmm. So a reminder on 3:20, it was, "The children, obey your parents in all things.
Why?
For this is well-pleasing unto the Lord."
There you go.
And then 22 and 23.
This is to the adults.
"Servants, obey in all things your masters, according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men."
Yeah. Which is kind of convicting.
Yeah, he put that that no modifier on there again.
He did. Servants, employees are servants, masters, but your bosses is your masters of this modern day. You're just supposed to do it. Again, not with eye service. In other words, don't just look busy when the boss is coming around.
Yes. Yeah.
It's heartily. And the other thing, he knocks down the one excuse of like, oh, I have a bad boss. I hate my boss. He's just trying to put me down. It's like, yeah, you're not doing this for your boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're doing it not unto men, but unto the Lord.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Like, whatsoever ye do,
Doesn't matter what
anything
you're
that
doing.
you do, no matter what, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men. And if you got a bad attitude, not going to be fun.
And it's not going to be done heartily. It's going to be done lazily and slowly.
That's
and procrastinatingly. Like, it's not gonna be in singleness of heart again if you have a bad attitude,
because you're gonna be distracted with all the things
you're gonna
that
be
irritate
split.
you.
Yeah, you're gonna be split by, I don't want to do it. Oh, but I have to. I don't want to do it. Lord says, no, singleness of heart. I love the Lord. I want to obey him. And he says I need to work hard. He says I need to obey my master, my boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do it. Regardless of who my boss is, what my job is. And of course, if you want to get a better job, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Applying for other jobs, like that, that's totally fine as long as it's done in a respectful, honoring way. But while you're there, that's where God has you. And he wants you to have a good attitude about it. So, whether you are a kid listening to your parents. You must listen to them in all things as unto the Lord, because it's well-pleasing to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an adult with a job, the exact same thing applies. Obey him in all things with a good attitude and with thankfulness. Be thankful for your parents. Even if they're, no matter whether you think they're great parents or not, be thankful.
Yeah.
And be thankful for your job. Because without it, well, you wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we obey with a good attitude.
Yeah. And of course, it's just a glossary.
Yes,
so much more. We honestly, as we're preparing it, there was so many more verses that popped out that we could have included that we didn't. A couple that we verbally quoted in this podcast that we didn't reference. So I would honestly suggest, if you're struggling with it, look up some verses and memorize them.
Yeah.
It helps so much.
Yeah.
Doing it unto the Lord and not as unto men. It's really good, really convicting. But that's it.
That's it.
That's all we got for you.
Yeah, thanks to Trinity for the topic suggestion.
Absolutely. I loved it. It was a fun one.
Yes.
And good for kids, good for adults.
Yes, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.